I heard that the son, Nick, went into his parents' house, stabbed both mom and dad, and that the daughter, I guess, that she found them, and that the mom was still alive, and apparently she called the ambulance and went in the ambulance with her mother. Michelle died in the ambulance, but had enough time to tell her daughter that it was Nick.
At 77, Billy Crystal finally pulls the curtain back on the truth about Rob Reiner, and it all starts way before Hollywood fame ever came calling. Billy Crystal, born William Edward Crystal on March 14, 1948, entered the world in Manhattan, New York City, before being raised on Long Island in a home buzzing with rhythm, laughter, and larger-than-life personalities. His childhood wasn't quiet or ordinary at all. Music, stories, and show business energy filled every corner of the house, shaping his instincts early on. His father, Jack Crystal, wasn't just connected to entertainment, he lived it. As a respected jazz promoter, Jack worked closely with legends like Billie Holiday and Duke Ellington, meaning Billy grew up surrounded by icons most kids only read about. Through backstage moments, smoky clubs, and conversations that lasted into the night, young Billy absorbed the world of performers before he even knew what a career was. That environment locked creativity into his DNA. Then everything changed in an instant. When Billy was just 15 years old, his father's sudden death ripped the foundation out from under him. The loss hit hard and fast, forcing him to grow up overnight. That pain never left him, and instead of breaking him, it carved something deeper inside. That early grief sharpened his emotional awareness, and later became the hidden engine behind his comedy, giving it depth, edge, and truth. Determined to move forward, Crystal attended Nassau Community College before transferring to New York University, where he studied drama at the prestigious Tisch School of the Arts. There, he didn't just learn how to perform, he learned how to feel, how to listen, and how to connect. Acting, writing, timing, and discipline all came together, preparing him to jump effortlessly between laugh-out-loud comedy and moments that hit straight to the chest. Billy Crystal first exploded into public view in the 1970s with his role as Jody Dallas on the groundbreaking ABC sitcom Soap. Jody wasn't a throwaway character or a cheap punchline. He was one of the first openly gay characters on American television, portrayed with real empathy and dimension. Crystal's performance was bold, fearless, and ahead of its time. It sparked controversy, but it also proved Billy wasn't scared to take risks or challenge expectations. While television doors were flying open, Crystal was also grinding hard on the stand-up circuit. His razor-sharp timing and flawless impressions earned him serious respect fast. When he joined Saturday Night Live in the early 1980s, he didn't just fit in, he dominated. Characters like Fernando Llamas declaring, "You look marvelous," and his smooth Sammy Davis Jr. impressions became instant classics. He didn't mock people, he honored them with style and precision.
Nick attended Conan O'Brien's Christmas party Saturday night with his parents, Michelle and Rob. Maybe Nick was not invited to Conan O'Brien's party. He was wearing a hoodie. Reports are that he was acting weird, apparently accosting celebrities outside. Nick reportedly stormed off in a huff after a tiff with Bill Hader of SNL and Barry at Conan's Christmas party, and that Rob had been telling people, friends, that they were scared for Nick and scared for his mental state, that it was deteriorating.
The late 1980s and 1990s became Billy Crystal's unstoppable golden era. He shattered the idea that comedians couldn't lead films with emotional weight. In When Harry Met Sally in 1989, he redefined the romantic lead entirely. As Harry Burns, Crystal delivered humor mixed with insecurity, vulnerability, and raw honesty. The performance felt real, messy, and human, and audiences couldn't get enough. That success launched a powerful run of films, including City Slickers in 1991, which earned him an Academy Award nomination, Mr. Saturday Night in 1992, Forget Paris in 1995, and Analyze This in 1999. These weren't shallow laughs. They explored aging, masculinity, regret, ego, and redemption. Crystal leaned into those themes with sharp self-awareness and emotional clarity. Then animation opened a whole new lane. As the voice of Mike Wazowski in Pixar's Monsters, Inc. franchise, Billy Crystal introduced himself to an entirely new generation. His fast-talking, high-energy, big-hearted delivery proved his appeal had no age limit. Kids loved him, adults recognized the brilliance, and his legacy only grew louder. And through it all, Billy Crystal became inseparable from the Academy Awards themselves. Hosting with confidence, warmth, and wit, he turned the Oscars into an event that actually felt fun again. At 77, looking back with honesty and no filters, Crystal's journey shows that behind the laughs was always depth, discipline, and a lifetime of truth waiting to be told. Having hosted the Oscars 9 times, Billy Crystal didn't just present Hollywood's biggest night, he owned it. He's widely viewed as one of the greatest hosts in Academy Awards history, and that reputation didn't come from luck. His opening monologues were full-blown events, packed with big musical numbers, sharp satire, and playful jabs that never crossed the line. He made Hollywood laugh at itself, and somehow made everyone feel welcome while doing it. Crystal brought celebration to the stage, not chaos. Instead of stirring drama, he united movie stars and everyday viewers through pure laughter and shared joy. That balance made him stand out in a space where egos can clash. Even outside award shows, one thing stayed constant: his love for the live stage, where his connection with audiences felt raw and real. That passion exploded on Broadway with his one-man shows, especially 700 Sundays. These performances stripped away the glitz and went straight to the heart. Crystal opened up about family, loss, love, and memory in a way that felt personal, honest, and deeply human. It wasn't loud comedy, it was emotional storytelling that hit people where they live. Audiences saw a quieter, more reflective side of him, and it worked. These shows proved that Billy's real power isn't just about punchlines, it's about making people feel seen and understood. That late career success reminded everyone why he stayed beloved for decades, not by chasing trends, but by staying real. Then came another bold move. In 2022, Crystal returned to Broadway with Mr. Saturday Night, a musical adaptation of his own film. Instead of playing it safe, he doubled down, taking on the heavy task of both writing the show and starring in it. That's not nostalgia, that's confidence backed by experience. He brought humor, depth, and lived-in truth to the role, showing the highs and lows of a life spent chasing laughs. The production became a full-circle moment, a celebration of decades in comedy, performance, and survival in a tough industry. It landed strong and earned him Tony Award nominations for Best Actor in a Musical and Best Book of a Musical, a rare combo that spoke volumes. Beyond the bright lights, Crystal's voice kept flowing through his writing. Over the years, he's authored 5 books filled with wit, warmth, and insight. His standout memoir, Still Foolin' 'Em from 2013, pulled back the curtain on show business with humor and honesty, no fake shine, just real stories. Together, his Broadway wins and literary work paint the picture of an artist who never stopped growing. Even after decades in the spotlight, Billy Crystal keeps finding fresh ways to surprise and connect with audiences. Offstage, his personal life reflects the same loyalty and stability seen in his work. On June 4, 1970, long before fame was guaranteed, Crystal married his high school sweetheart, Janice Goldfinger. This wasn't a Hollywood stunt. It was real love built before the spotlight ever showed up. Their marriage became one of the most enduring in entertainment history. In an industry where long-term relationships often crack under pressure, their bond stood firm. No drama, no chaos, just commitment, respect, and shared history, proving that Billy Crystal's greatest role might be the one he never had to rehearse. The marriage of Billy Crystal has always stood as a quiet but powerful flex of loyalty, respect, and real love that doesn't need headlines. He's spoken many times about where those values came from, and it always circles back to his parents. He remembered them as a couple who genuinely enjoyed being together, laughing, talking, and moving through life as a unit, not just partners on paper. That image stuck with him for life. That visible affection became his emotional blueprint. Crystal didn't grow up thinking marriage was something you just maintain. He learned it's something you actively live every single day. Love meant showing up, cracking jokes, being patient, standing tall through stress, and staying locked in when things got rough. Those lessons shaped not only his home life, but the grounded way he handled fame and success. Together, Billy and Janice Crystal raised two daughters, each carving out her own creative lane. Their oldest, Jennifer Crystal Foley, stepped into acting, taking inspiration from her father without trying to live in his shadow. She built her own identity, her own rhythm, and her own grind. Their younger daughter, Lindsay Crystal, chose to work behind the scenes as a producer, proving that influence doesn't always need the spotlight to matter. As parents, Billy and Janice kept family first even while his career went into overdrive. They worked hard to keep life feeling normal, stable, and supportive despite the pressure that comes with fame. Over time, the family grew again with grandchildren, a role Billy embraced with pure joy. He's spoken openly about how grandparenthood hits different, slowing time down and making every moment count even more. For decades, the Crystals called Pacific Palisades home, a peaceful pocket of Los Angeles known for calm streets, ocean air, and quiet strength. Their house wasn't just a place to sleep, it was a memory vault. Birthdays, private laughs, career reflections, and moments the public never saw all lived inside those walls. That sense of permanence shattered in January 2025, when their home was destroyed in the devastating Palisades fire. The loss went far beyond bricks and beams. Decades of memories, keepsakes, and personal history disappeared overnight. It marked the painful closing of a chapter that had held most of their married life. Still, even in that heartbreak, their bond didn't crack. Friends and admirers pointed out that if any couple could survive something like this, it was one built long before fame, strengthened by shared values, and tested by time itself. At 77, Billy Crystal stands in a season of reflection, speaking more openly about the people who shaped him, the love that carried him, and the life lessons that still guide him forward. Among all the collaborators who shaped his legendary career, Rob Reiner stands tall as one of the most important creative partners in Billy Crystal's life. For years, Crystal spoke about Rob with warmth but restraint, choosing his words carefully and never oversharing. But now, with decades of distance and hard-earned clarity, he's finally telling the full truth about Reiner. Not gossip, not drama, but something way more powerful and real. People always ask him about it, and Crystal doesn't dodge anymore. As he puts it, people always ask me what it was really like working with Rob, and the truth is, it was one of the most defining experiences of my life. That's not hype, that's reflection. He explains that Reiner wasn't the kind of director who just sat back and barked orders. He was hands-on, curious, and fully invested, creating a space where ideas could breathe. According to Crystal, Reiner's understanding of comedy ran way deeper than punchlines or quick laughs. Rob knew that comedy comes from character and honesty, he explains. He never wanted jokes just to be jokes. He wanted them to come from who the people really were. That mindset shaped everything, especially during the making of When Harry Met Sally. Crystal remembers being pushed harder than ever before. He challenged me constantly, Crystal admits, not in a cruel way, not in an ego-driven way, but in a way that made me better. Reiner's calm confidence gave actors room to stretch. He'd casually say, "What if we try it this way?" And suddenly a whole new layer would come out, something raw and unexpected. One truth Crystal now shares openly, is just how emotionally sharp Reiner really was. Rob is a very sensitive guy, he says. People see the beard, the big laugh, the commanding presence, but underneath that is someone who really listens. That emotional awareness, Crystal believes, is why Reiner's films still hit decades later. He knew when to talk and when to shut up, Crystal laughs, pointing out how rare that skill really is. But make no mistake, their partnership wasn't always smooth. We didn't always agree, Crystal says honestly. There were days when I thought, I don't know if this is going to work. Those moments weren't cracks, they were sparks. The friction was creative, he explains. We were both fighting for the movie, not for ourselves. Looking back, Crystal sees those clashes as proof of respect. If Reiner didn't care, he wouldn't push back. And if Crystal didn't trust him, he wouldn't listen. That mutual trust kept the work sharp and honest. The biggest truth of all is how deeply Reiner reshaped Crystal's view of storytelling. Rob taught me that comedy can be romantic, philosophical, and even painful, he says. It doesn't have to be loud to be funny, sometimes it just has to be true. That lesson changed everything. Crystal credits Reiner with helping him level up as an artist, moving beyond stand-up and impressions into fully realized acting. He saw me in a way I didn't yet see myself, Crystal admits, now speaking with clarity only time can give. Today, he talks about Reiner with pure gratitude. I owe him a lot, he says simply, not just for my career, but for my confidence. Their collaboration worked because it was built on friendship, trust, and real respect, and that's the truth he's finally ready to share. We trusted each other, Billy Crystal says, and that trust is exactly why people still talk about those movies today. You can feel it on screen, the honesty, the vulnerability, the moments that hit a little too close to home. At 77, Crystal isn't trying to rewrite the past or settle old scores. He's not chasing headlines or drama. He's simply telling the truth about Rob Reiner by honoring what they actually built together. For Crystal, it was never about ego or control. It was about two people pushing each other to be better and trusting the process enough to let the work breathe. That's why the stories still land, still resonate, still feel alive all these years later. If you're lucky, Crystal reflects, you get to work with someone who changes you. And then he says it straight, no hesitation. Rob changed me, and I'll always be thankful for that. That's not nostalgia, that's respect earned the hard way. If you felt that connection too, make sure to like, share, and comment with your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this, and we'll see you on the next one.